Shanti, 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 Shanti. Welcome, beautiful souls. Welcome to Cosmic Conversations, a place for us to gather virtually to listen to the insights and wisdom of artists, healers, and visionaries, and to learn with them about how we can more creatively and consciously explore our beautiful cosmos. Today, I am absolutely, positively thrilled to welcome my very special guest. Her name is Halina Schriefer. She is the founder of Ordinary Pioneer Spiritual Healing Community. She is a Reiki teacher, yoga teacher, meditation guide, and an all-around beautiful soul, and one of my dearest friends and co-creators. So hello, Halina. Thank you for joining Cosmic Conversations today.
I'm blessed to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. So, Halina, you and I have had quite a journey together. We've known each other for about, 3 years now, maybe 2 years.
Something like that. Forever, seems
Forever.
like.
Many, many lifetimes.
Mm-hmm.
And this particular one has been special because we started together on the path of Reiki. It began, you coming to learn Reiki, and then it morphed into us working together side by side, you founding Ordinary Pioneer shortly after your Reiki, becoming a Reiki teacher. And then slowly I started to get interested in what you were doing at Ordinary Pioneer, and then came on board with you as a healing facilitator there, and a co-creator of this beautiful community that we're building in Northwest Ohio, which I'm so blessed to share with you. And so I just wanted to start off this conversation by asking you, can you recall a defining moment? I'm sure there were many, but a defining moment that you felt at the precipice of starting this community. And we're going to work our way into talking about money and the gift economy. But just first, when was like an aha moment where you're like, I want to start something. I want to have people come and gather together. Can you recall that moment?
Well, it's interesting because I don't think that there is one moment for me to say, yes, this is what I'm doing. It was more of an evolvement over time to acknowledge in the present moment, oh, this is what I'm doing. It started with yoga after completing my 200-hour yoga teacher training, just wanting to teach. And then recognizing, okay, there's an importance of community here. You know, this was a time when COVID was just kind of coming into the pandemic phase, and seeing how we've all become really separated from each other. So yoga was that avenue to begin to see, you know, let's bring people together, do some moves, do some breath, and just see what can be generated here. And then one thing led to the next. And, you know, one day I just opened my eyes and was like, wow, we have a community forming here. And that is the pinnacle of what we are doing here is community. So yeah, not really one moment that I can say, this is what I'm doing. I can't say it's anything specific that I had my eye on to manifest. It is beyond anything that I imagine I would be manifesting.
It reminds me of the conversations we've had so many times, including like just yesterday, that that we are servants to the work. And instead of trying to manifest things, we often just listen. Mm-hmm. Has that been your experience? Just listening?
Yes. I say, people ask me, you know, how'd you do this? You know, they, you know, kind of look at me as this big, you know, entrepreneur and the healing community, but really it's all have been surrender. All of this started for my own healing journey, to create a space to have people come in here and create this safe space for us to talk. And for that to happen, the foundation of that is me being in the present moment and just allowing God to work in my life and in the lives of others, and in this space in general. I refer to it as an entity because there's so much here that in these walls that have guided me into my own healing, which has allowed me to really open up my heart to receive anything that's coming my way in the present moment without really looking too far ahead.
Yeah, even just like in this interview, I felt that it was best not to plan out questions because I just wanted our conversation to be 100% organic and divinely in the flow. So yeah, I completely resonate with that. And we are, I think the more that we can like humble ourselves and vacate our ego and our separate ideas of how things should be, the more that we are just in tune. And then also, like, paradoxically within that, I often find that what my ego most wants is actually usually aligned with spirit anyway.
Yes.
So, as we've worked together, and you've pioneered and spearheaded this community, what would you say has been the most surprising aspect of getting out of our own way and just like letting spirit guide?
Being tuned in every single moment. There's ups and downs that happen in life and different obstacles that in the highs, allow yourself to feel those high vibrations, taking them into your heart as a blessing, but not clinging to them, because nothing is permanent here. So what comes up is going to come down, and then we're going to have these lows when we're going to feel not good enough, or shadows are going to come out, but yet still not clinging onto that. As the more we can remain in the present moment, the more we can come into this equilibrium of peace. So that way, no matter where our path leads us, we are always in this place of peace, because we are present, knowing that this is a part of the plan, whether it feels really, really good or maybe doesn't feel good and is uncomfortable. It's all a part of the plan for us to be able to co-create with spirit.
Oh, yes. I love that idea of the equilibrium. Because we have these like mountaintop spiritual experiences where we're just like on fire for God. We're just like, yes, 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 and glowing. And everyone's like, wow, you're glowing. And you're like, I know. And then like you go, and then I don't know, 10 minutes later, like, well, maybe not that dramatically, but maybe, a couple hours later or something, because we're a little bit more balanced than that usually. But, so we start to get into like this like lower vibration, and then we're like, what just happened? But like knowing that, as you said, like things are always changing, keeps us grounded and keeps us just kind of trusting that even if in this moment I'm feeling a little tired or stagnant or whatever like we say that we feel, it's going to shift. And that's just really comforting. So and so I want to dive into like the main theme of what I wanted to talk with you about today, which is something that probably occupies, I don't know, maybe half or more lately in the past few months of our conversations together, in our friendship and in our work together at Ordinary Pioneer, which is this financial gift model, the gift economy. It's something that we have talked about endlessly. And so I just wanted to give viewers here on my channel like a sneak peek into our world. So first of all, just what is the gift economy, Halina?
The gift economy is this harmonious place where we can release these fears around our finances, release the anxiety around our finances, tune into the gifts that we have to share. We all have, a specific purpose on this earth, and various gifts, various tools that have been embedded in our DNA for us to share. It's tuning into those gifts and being able to share those gifts with the collective. And then at the same point, recognizing the gifts within others, this light with that others carry, and opening our hearts to receive it. And when we do that, we create this equilibrium, not just in ourselves, but in the entire community in general. So it's always fluid. It's not, this part of the community has more money or is more in the light than this other part of the community. We're seeing us all as equals and a shared part of this uprising of our economy.
Yeah. So on a practical day-to-day level, what does it look like at Ordinary Pioneer with
Mm.
this new model of working with money, with finances and giving and sharing?
Yeah. Again, being in the present moment, but tuning in is what will I be receiving today? Opening my heart to receive whatever abundance is coming my way, whether that is specific finances are coming my way to support me personally or support this community. And then what am I sharing today? What am I being called to share today? Is that a service? And am I opening my heart to have somebody walk in my door, which has happened before, who just happens to, happen to have the day off and to come in and to receive, healing work. So constantly being in the present moment and tuning into that. And how we've begun to evolve that is first beginning to practice with the people that we are most aligned with. So the small community of healing facilitators that keep Ordinary Pioneer going. First, seeing as practicing, with you and myself, practicing the gift economy, between us. Sometimes that looks like sharing services. Sometimes that looks like sharing finances, and same thing with our other facilitators. So being in a space of really giving and trusting that what we give is going to come back to us in the way that we need it the most. So then from there, it begins to evolve into the community. So what is it that we are here to share with the community? And we meet, once a month to plan out, the next month or next couple month events and healing workshops and offerings that we have here. So coming together and really tuning into what is it that I feel led to share with this community. And then the community response there, we have people coming in, who are really needing this community. And I mean, the big thing that I hear is, I'm looking for like-minded people. I really need to get to community. So that's exactly what we're offering here. Everybody coming here is sharing their energy with this space. So that in itself is a gift. With the financial gift model, we don't set a specific fee for our classes and our workshops and some of our sessions even. You can come here and tune into, what is my intuition sharing with me about the number that feels best to give financially to continue the work that we're doing here at Ordinary Pioneer. So somebody who may be financially abundant and in a place where they, have a higher number, to work with, may feel led to give more. And then maybe somebody coming in who, has lost their job or experiencing some kind of financial troubles, gives them permission to just come and to just be in the space of healing in this community and gift whatever it is that is on their heart to share. And what really keeps me focused in this is there's Jesus is at the temple and people are coming and sharing their tithes with the church. And then the one woman gives, I don't know what they say, but like she gives like a penny, and he calls her out of she's given abundantly. So that number is going to look differently for all of us. And that number is blessed and we receive all of that.
Yeah. You and I have been talking lately about this concept of family.
Mm-hmm.
And that maybe it's even a better word than community.
Yes.
If you think about like how we normally most people act in their biological family, they would never like charge them set amounts for things, but they often do share resources and money. Like I don't know, I'm thinking of the sort of example of maybe a kid in college and then they call up their parents like, oh my gosh, I'm totally broke right now, can you help me out? And the parents are like, sure, we'll lend you some money or we'll give you some money or whatever. It's like there's still financial exchange often when it's needed, but there's never like a rigidity to it. It's never like like the parents are like, I'm going to charge you, uh, child, for reading you this bedtime story or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just like this fluid thing. And like in what we're creating, Ordinary Pioneer, and what, you've been so brave and courageous to run with this vision of the gift economy. It's this vision of like, we're slowly becoming a feeling of family together, where there, and then because of that feeling of family, the rigidity and the boundaries are kind of coming down. And boundaries are always good. I'm not saying that boundaries are bad, but I'm saying the energetic like walls that we put up between each other. And I think that utilizing the gift economy instead of standard ways of using money has greatly facilitated that feeling of family. I don't know about you, but I think it's been a big part of why it feels so good to walk through those doors, because of that vibe.
Yeah, it takes that pressure off of feeling like you have to owe somebody something, right? Like that's if somebody, let's say we are experiencing financial hardship and somebody lends us that money. I don't know about you, but I get anxiety about that, like our credit card debt, like, oh, I owe this money back. And we are eliminating that need, to be able to owe anybody anything and trusting that what we give is absolutely enough and received with gratitude. And what we receive then is enough for us to be able to walk out of these doors and feel a sense of community, a sense of unconditional love that they've been able to receive in this space.
Yeah. And I love to hear you share some of the learning and growth that you've worked through, because I mean, for me, dude, I've been slowly immersing myself in this way of being since around 2015. Is 2015 was when I first read Charles Eisenstein's book Sacred Economics, which if you have not read that, please read that. It will absolutely change your world forever. So, yes. And there have been many other people who have written and spoken about the gift economy. It's becoming very, very popular now. Well, I shouldn't say popular in the mainstream, but definitely in like the healing circles, like it's becoming more known. But anyway, I mean, I've been working with this way of thinking and conceptualizing, sharing and giving for 7 years now, and I still am surprised at how often I still get triggered or get fearful. Like, like let's just certain people come into my life and I do my best to open my heart to them and practice like unconditional giving, and then something happens where I'm just like, ugh, and I get triggered back into this old paradigm of fear that somehow I'm not going to be okay. I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. I'm going to be homeless on the street, starving to death. Like it's so deep and primal, these fears. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your healing journey as you've because we've only, let's see, it's only it's been super recent that we made the transition to the gift model for a majority of the classes and stuff. So it's new, but what have you been working through and healing in yourself?
Yeah, even before starting the financial gift model here, so I left my full-time employment in March. That was that biggest shift for me to surrender into this fear that I have of finances and these societal standards that are throughout our being that we have lived with our entire lives. Going back, generations and through the Great Depression. And I mean, from there and then building up the economy from there. And now that, the economy was, oh, okay, so it's starting to get a little bit better. Now our generation is like, okay, yeah, but what can we do with this to, to ground back into the spiritual aspect of energy as money, not energy as this is what I need in order to survive, which confuses the brain, right? So anxiety has always been, finances has always been the number one source of my anxiety. And this year has been a series of ups and downs as I evolve spiritually around my relationship with money. So leaving my job, spirit guided me into doing this because I was in such a stressful space, and my body was screaming at me to take a break, to rest. Multiple health issues. So it was that guidance that was that calling for me to surrender into this fear of, where am I gonna, where am I gonna get money from? How am I, I've got a partner, and I've got a son, and our house, and our healing space here, and so much that I felt was riding on me. But I wasn't seeing any other choice, and so jumping into that fear, I mean, it's been a year of anxiety, of learning what my fear actually stems from, and a lot of it is personal, and how I was raised, and what I was taught, and how to have a relationship with money. But with what we are doing, we're working on an individual level, and that is blessed. But also those of us who are choosing to dip back into this idea of gifting services, we're going against the grain. So don't expect to have this freedom, and we just give and receive, and it may be a little bit before we feel that anxiety to lift off of us from having being in a fuller community that is like-minded in that sense. So there's going to be anxiety that comes up with this. And how I've been able to work through that and evolve through it is constantly coming back into the present moment. And my mantra has been, I have everything that I need right now. There's nothing more that I need in order to survive, to be here, to be well in this moment. When we can trust that everything that we receive is for us, and that anything that we may think we want outside of this space, even things that we are manifesting that are super blessed that haven't made it yet into this present moment, all of that we will receive will happen in its perfect timing when our heart is ready to receive it with fullness and gratitude. So it's that constant checking in of, where am I right now? Am I dipping back into that fear and allowing anxiety to be at the forefront of my focus? And if it is, let's be there, honor that. I mean, this is very challenging, but we don't have to stay there. Just as that, when the pendulum swings up and we are, we're receiving financial abundance, and, we find, $20 on the ground, and, I mean, it's for us, right? It's a gift from the universe, or somebody gives us a gift because they appreciate what we're doing, or whatever it may be. We get an employment that is bringing in some more financial abundance. All of that is blessed as well. But let's also not be attached to that, because again, we're coming back to this equilibrium, this place of peace. So just as, when we're in that lower vibration and we're feeling we're not receiving enough, being present and honoring where we're at, being in discovery of that fear. And also, when we're in this high vibration and we're in the flow and everything's abundant, we're feeling the love, and money is flowing in, let's also not be attached to that. Bring it back to this middle ground and allow what needs to flow in, and then allow it to pass out.
Yes. I just had this analogy pop into my head, which I really like. I've never had this thought before, but that okay, so we can acknowledge and honor exactly where we're at in this journey of transforming our view of money and transforming our view of giving and receiving and sharing. It's kind of like so we're stepping into a new paradigm with the gift economy, the gift model. And it doesn't have to be all at once. So like, for some of us, myself included, we have moved through different illnesses, like physical illnesses. And so we jumped, many of us, into holistic healing, like focusing on eating organic, not going to restaurants and polluting our body with strange things. At least around here, there's not really good restaurants, but other places it might be fine to go out. But like, we focus on moving our bodies, yoga, tai chi, exercise, being out in nature, being in the elements, like But also, like for some of us, it's a transition and a process. And there may be times when Western medicine is very appropriate. I was just talking to a friend last night who is super like granola-y, geeky, hippie, holistic most of the time, but like she has to get a mammogram today. And she's like, I really prayed about it. And I just realized, like, yes, there is like some toxicity that's going to enter my body through having this procedure done. But spirit is guiding me to do it because blah, 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 blah. Like, spirit is guiding her that's okay. It's a balance. So, like, as we work, for anyone out there who is a healer or an artist, a visionary who's like wanting to dip their toes into this different way of working with resources and energy, know that you don't have to do it all like at once, and you can balance it. Like, so for myself, I share many things with Ordinary Pioneer and other communities with no set fee, and people can offer me money or gifts like food or, I don't know, back rubs or hugs or whatever, as their showing of gratitude to me. And also at the same time, my private one-on-one sessions and also healing sessions, and also my Reiki trainings, I do have a set fee for, although it is flexible. Like I'll sometimes say, okay, this is what I normally ask for. And then sometimes the person will be like, well, I really can't do that. I'll be like, what can you do? But sometimes not. Sometimes I tune in and I'm like, what actually would be good? Like, I'm feeling intuitively that person would benefit from sharing the amount that I asked for. So I don't get flexible with them. It's a very case by case basis. But the point is that I am flowing in between many worlds and I am finding the balance. And so, like with Charles Eisenstein, for example, he's all in. Like, he will rent out a big conference hall for a weekend retreat and pay for that up front, buy all the participants food, teach his heart out for a whole weekend, and at the end there's no set fee. And these are all people he's never met before. He's all in that sense of like fully trusting, but it's taken him years to get to that point. And so, like, I just want to like piggyback on what you just said, which is like honoring where we're at. And there's no wrong way of doing it. It could just be as simple for you. Like, if you're tuning in and you're like, for example, you're a Reiki healer and you're like, yeah, I want to be a little bit more flexible with how I handle money and deal with it in my life. Like, it could be as simple as having a sliding scale, because then you still have a minimum amount that you're going to receive, which would bring you ease. But then also it would allow other people to gift more if they feel more abundant in their checkbook. So, Halina, like, as you've been working with this, like an Ordinary Pioneer, we're about to give a Reiki training in a couple months and we have a set fee for it. How does that land with you, that we're, on the one hand, most of the time offering things without a set fee, but then for this other thing, there is a set fee. How do you negotiate that in your brain and body?
I mean, the simple answer is as I'm guided by spirit, but the more structured answer would be, what do I consider my acts of service, and what do I consider my exchange within society? So, with our Reiki, with the Reiki training coming up, and the Reiki sessions that I share have a fixed fee. And I've invested, my own finances to get this, and continually to invest my finances into gaining more knowledge and experience with how I use these Reiki gifts that I'm sharing. And so that is giving a set fee for specific services is me asking for from the community support in continuing my education, so that way I can feed back into those that come to see me. There's different variances and different viewpoints and perspectives within spiritual communities about, the idea of charging for services. And for some, that may not make, sense for them. It may be something that they are in a position where they can, be 100% in the gift model and allow people to share, or not charge at all for healing services. And that is blessed if that's where you are. On the other hand, you may be in a financial circumstance. In order for you to share these beautiful gifts that you have, you need to charge, but integrating the financial gift model, we can begin to open our minds and our hearts to see, well, where can I express some flexibility in that as an act of trust that what I share with this community is going to come back to me. So as you said, maybe that looks like having a sliding scale. Maybe you'll start to get requests from people, who may not have the funds, why I can't pay this, but can I pay that? The universe is going to start to guide you in that direction as to how in depth you are meant to be right now with gifted services. So I would absolutely say, honor your gifts, honor your financial circumstances, and see that the energy coming to you in terms of, this green paper money energy is to support your continuing education and your continued growth. So that way you can grow in this new economy that we are building.
Yeah. And I think also what helps us do what you're saying is that all of us, really, I encourage all of us to start moving towards the mindset of simplicity in our lives, because do we really need that like super fancy car? I would say no. I'm going to be bold and say no. Like, do we need like 1,000 sweaters? Do we need a closet full of shoes? I mean, we have a lot of, in our Western world, like luxuries, and a lot of people are really accustomed to that. But what would our lives look like if we pared down and really started to live more simply? And we're going to have to do that as a collective. We have got to do that, like, because our resources on this planet, trees, water, animals, are not unlimited. Like, they actually, like, you cut a tree down and it's not there anymore, and it takes how many decades to grow back to that size. So we live in a finite world of resources, and so what can we do to make our lives simpler? And at the same time, also, like, money is not a bad thing. Like, money is a form of energy, right, at the core of it. So money does help us to serve humanity. So I was talking to a friend of mine a few days ago, and she runs a healing center, and she was saying how she's really opening up to the universe to receive more financial abundance, because she wants, like, to open up like other locations and have more, like, just more avenues to share. And she's like, and I can't do that with the current budget that I'm on. I need more money. And I'm like, cool. Like, so she's putting that out there into the universe. So we're all in different positions of like how much finances would help us in our journey. Some of us don't need that much to do what we do. Some of us need more. Like, it just depends on where we're at. But really, like, I think that on the one hand, I want to, like, keep saying over and over to people, like, money is not the devil. Money is not intrinsically evil. It's just energy also. And at the same time, like, and you and I've talked about this so much. It's like, at the same time, the way the current money structure is structured in our society by the powers that be, the politicians and the government officials and all the very wealthy people on Wall Street, like, it's set up to screw us over so that some people have less and some people have more. It's just how it's created. So until there's, like, I don't know, I mean, maybe at some point some spiritual people will get together and be in positions of power where the money system can be altered so that it's not so imbalanced. So I'm saying, like, I hold both things to be true at the same time. Money is energy, and it is not inherently bad or wrong. Also, the way that humans have created that system of money right now is very messed up. I mean, if you anyone can look into this, it's very out there now. Like, um, if you just look at how a dollar bill is actually not a dollar bill, it's actually a debt. Um, Green money is actually something that we need to pay back. That's how it was created. So it's kind of complicated, the fractional reserve system, but it is set up so that some people, kind of like musical chairs is the analogy. Mm-hmm. So like you got a bunch of people and the song stops and one person doesn't have a chair and they're out. Well, that's how the money system is created. Like it's created so that somebody has to go bankrupt. Some out of 10 people, one person is going to end up homeless. And then one person is going to get the chair first, and that would be representative of the person who has 10 mansions and a yacht. It's just set up that way with the interest and how it all, with all the fancy, wizardry behind the scenes. So it's a problem. And so what I just love with what we're doing is we are kind of like honoring that money is energy, but also like critiquing it and being like, because a lot of people that come to Ordinary Pioneer, they don't have a lot of extra, they genuinely don't. And I don't either right now anyway, until I win the lottery. But anyway, so it just warms my heart to see what we're doing and supporting people on their journeys and not tying money so heavily to that support. And that sets us apart from other centers, where you walk in the door and you kind of feel like you're a walking price tag. Like, what do they want out of me? It's like, no, what can we give? What can we share as facilitators, as healers, as teachers? That's the number one priority. And then everything else just kind of falls into place from there. So how do you manage that balance? Because as we're doing this gift economy, for me, maybe it's just me, I don't know, but like I start to sometimes fall into the trap of like rejecting money and thinking it's bad and evil and like almost like saying no to it. And I feel like I'm sometimes blocking my own abundance. How do you navigate that?
With gratitude. So any number that comes in is allowing us to continue the work that we're doing here. So instead of looking at money as, how much do I have, and constantly, checking our bank accounts to see, what number it is, and then judging that number, whatever number it is, after and I learned this from you, after a workshop that we have that is gifted, and we invite the community to gift whatever it is that is on their heart to share with this space. And afterwards, I take all the money. I don't even count it at that point. And I take it and I place it in front of my heart and just honor this gift, this representation of support, of love that is received into this community. And I trust that energy is going to be enough for us to continue this work that we are doing here. And just as that, in my own personal finances, any money that comes into my personal finances, not judging it, or, oh, is this going to be enough? What am I going to use it for? Taking it and really honoring that number. And this is something that I imagine is different from somebody who may be blessed with financial wealth as society sees it. We become disconnected. And I was there. I've never been considered financially wealthy, but I, was able to sustain. I didn't have to really, count my money or, anything. Like I just, it would flow in and I'd pay my bills, and I, everything's automatically withdrawal, and I was living in ease. And, I was disconnected from the money that was coming in and going out. So as disconnected as I was of, my paycheck being auto, deposited into my account every other week, I was spending money of, yeah, I really like this shirt, I'm going to get this shirt, or oh, like, I really want this movie, I'm going to get this movie, and not really considering this flow that's taking place, where as now, and this what I'm experiencing this year was an answered prayer. I prayed that I would come to a place where I can finally release this fear that I have of money. And right after that, my car died. And so that kind of threw me into this whole like survive, how am I going to survive without my car? Da, da, da. And through the process, I think it was pretty much mostly unusable for like a month and a half. Luckily, the weather was warm enough where I could walk. And it was those walks that I took, to get from point A to point B, because I didn't have a car that I could really trust to drive, that I was like, wow, because my car is not drivable right now, I get to be outside. And this happened, when autumn is happening in Northwest Ohio, so the leaves are changing, and I really started to develop a fear that began to replace that energy, or I started to generate gratitude that replaced that energy of fear that I had been used to feeling as I associated with money. And through that, working through that with gratitude in my heart. And my car, it was supposed to cost like $5,000 for all of the repairs. And through the healing work that I did, it ended up being $375.
Yeah.
And that was also a prayer that I asked for. And so we are blessed, and we have everything that we need in this moment. Can we be grateful for what we have? If we have our clothes, if we have our food, we have a house, we do live in luxury. Now I have my car, and now I have a different relationship where I truly feel blessed to drive it one more day. I get to drive my car, and now it's getting colder. Oh, thank God I have my car. I don't have to be out in the cold. Like, I am blessed. I am blessed. I am blessed.
Yeah, totally. I was thinking recently about how if this is, I'm not trying to tell the universe that I want this to happen, but I'm just saying, like, if at some point in the future, when society restructures itself, that if we ever like lost power in the winter in Ohio, I was like, what would we do? Like, that would be intense. It gets freaking cold. And I had this image in my mind of like a bunch of soul family sitting around an actual fire that we would build. Like, I was like, oh, we could like knock out the roof and like, or like, build like a little, like, I don't know, like, I'm just thinking about like making like real fireplaces in people's houses and stuff.
Mm.
And like, and then we would just gather together and like sing songs all day and like sit near the fire. Cause like, what else are we gonna do? It's the winter, and like, and I was like, that's such a nice thought. Like, that's lovely. And so, yeah, like if that happened, like we would be just tuned into the gratitude of just being together and in community and sharing. But yeah, I mean, we live in the lap of luxury. Like after going to India, I like, and seeing people live in conditions that blew my mind, like broke my heart. And then coming back here, I was so confused. I was in a state of disorientation because everyone around here like is so wealthy and yet thinks they're not, because we have this like societal like pressure to like have fancy things, and yet we're all in comparison to where I was just at, like the most wealthy, like living in the lap of luxury. We don't even know it. It's crazy to me. It's just so crazy. So again, going back to that simplicity and gratitude, like, and hopefully that's what we're inspiring in people at Ordinary Pioneer, is like just going to the basics. Like, what does our heart really need? And to me, like what my heart tends to just want the most is people that love me, and like a chance to like pray with people and chant with people. I don't know. I mean, that's about it. Maybe put some food in my belly, but I mean, that's about it. What is your like what do you need? What do you really need, Halina? Like, what do you really, really need?
And the easy answer is honestly just love. You know, we talk about, you know, different spiritual practices where what is it where you don't eat food, broth, what is it called?
Bone broth?
No, where it's a practice, a spiritual practice where they don't eat food. It's
Oh, breatharianism.
breatharianism. Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, I imagine they're living off of love, right? Like we have this higher vibration, and you fast a lot, you know, and you know the energy that comes up, that prana that flows through, you know. So what do I need? I need what God gives me, you know, and nothing more, and nothing less than that. You know, that may look like nourishing food. You know, and with food's a good example too. Is we are gluttons. You know, we live in a society where we are blessed to have access to not only food but numerous food choices, where, you know, that could be a practice that we can start with too, and understanding, you know, energy flowing in. Maybe it's not money that we focus on, maybe it's our food, you know, this luxury of having food and the abundance of food, you know, and how are we using our food, you know, as the example of money. So yeah, what do I need? I need food, water, and shelter, and love. I mean, that's it. And if I could choose any of those things, it would be love. It would be love.
Yes, totally. Yeah. Well, the fasting thing is an interesting point that you brought up because when I'm fasting, which I'm about to start a fast soon tonight and extending into tomorrow, like it's always fascinating to see what my mind does when I'm fasting, because I start to reflect on how abundant I am with food. Like, and I've, so just as a little aside, like I've been struggling with like a digestive issue for the past year and a half, and it's limited the amount of choices that I have for food. And sometimes I get jealous when I'm around other people because I see that they can eat. I mean, they're eating healthy still, but they don't have restrictions. And I'm like, "Ugh," and I just get frustrated. Sometimes I go to the grocery store and I just get all bent out of shape because I can't get that or that or that. But then when I fast, I start to fantasize about like a raspberry, like,
Mm.
or like a like a walnut, or like and I'm like, oh, and then when I break the fast and I start eating again, I eat so slowly, and I just like, it's so simple, and I could be eating anything and it would taste amazing. You know what I mean? So it's like I just like stare at a cucumber like, wow, you know, and it doesn't need salt, it doesn't need anything. It's just a cucumber and it is so good. So again, going back to the simplicity, like we are gluttons in so many ways, and not just the food, but like we just want more and more and more and more and more. Like I have this blanket that I'm looking at right now. You can't really see it here, but like I've had it for probably 10 years. It's like an organic, I think it was made out of like, I think, yeah, it's like 100% cotton organic blanket, and it's literally falling apart. Like this, every time I pick it up, like all these like threads fall off of it. Um, but it's only like one part that's falling apart. The rest of it is fine. And so part of me was keeps saying like I should get a new one, but I don't really need a new one. It's fine. It keeps me warm. It's just like the one part is like falling apart, but who cares? Like we have it like ingrained in our head that everything has to be new and everything has to look new. And like going back to the financial gift model, like I think one of the things I like the most about it is we're breaking people's like attachment to standard paradigms of materials, resources, objects, and we're just looking at things in a new way. So I'm starting to feel that let's draw this conversation to a close in a little bit. So, you know, I'd like to hear like anything else that you want to share about the gift model as you've been practicing it, as the, you know, our leader, our fearless leader at Ordinary Pioneer, like anything you want to impress upon people's hearts about different ways of looking or working with money, looking at money, viewing money, resources.
I would say don't underestimate the impact that you are bringing into this world. So it may be a small, seemingly small gesture that you bring out into this world with somebody asking, maybe there's a post on Facebook, does somebody have, this, you know, a table or something, and you have one, maybe as simple as giving a person, a table. It may be seeing somebody, in line, at checkout who's counting their money and may not have enough, and you feel blessed, you feel like you have that blessing to be able to gift to them. It may be that. And in these moments, as you give, notice how you feel. Verify this work of the gift model as we're starting to integrate it into our society. Notice how you feel. Notice their reaction, and imagine that impact that you created by changing that person's day by offering them a gift. Just as that, when somebody offers you a gift, the holidays are coming, it's going to be a season of giving. This is a perfect time to practice this model. Can you give without, I have to give something to this person? Can you be very intentional in your giving? And also when you receive, I invite you to just hold the item, whatever that is, up to your heart, that the specific item that somebody really felt that they wanted to bless you with, even if it's not something that you expected, or like, I could use this instead. Can we begin to clear that and not look at it as an item, and just look at it as a blessing, as an expression of love into our hearts? And that is an invitation for the giver to then acknowledge that gift that they gave to you, to allow them to feel good. So that's how it can begin to feed into itself. Find these opportunities to give, feel blessed when you receive, tune into how it makes you feel, tune into how it makes the other person feel, and then imagine the impact that you are creating by shifting one person's day by offering a gift or saying yes to receive a gift. They are then going out into the world feeling good and encouraging them to continue that work that they are also doing. So we think of ourselves as the individual, and as the individual, our peripheral only goes so far, but there's so much more being orchestrated that we are pioneering into this community that begins to expand beyond our comprehension. So just to remember that your impact, any little choice that you make to bring love and goodness into this world, is beginning to shift this idea that we have of the world into that of goodness, and this Garden of Eden that we are so eager to come into, this place of love. So you are contributing to that, and I thank you, and may you be blessed, and know, see how blessed you are to be in the space that you are, with this impact that you are creating.
I love that, because that takes the pressure off, because we don't have to do these big things necessarily. We can, but we don't have to. We can just do these little moments.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what, the little moments add up and shift the collective. So that's really, really good advice. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to give our viewers an opportunity to share with us if they feel called. So I'm going to include a link in the description box below for Ordinary Pioneer, for if you feel called to share a gift with us, we would be most grateful. And also I will include a link to, if you resonated with this video and you'd like me to keep doing interviews with amazing souls, you can definitely help me out by joining my Patreon community. And in that venue, Patreon, I share gifts back with you. So there's a link for my Patreon below as well. Anything else, Halina, that we want to share?
Just uplifting gratitude for everybody tuning into this conversation, that, acknowledging that you are tuning in because you're wanting to explore this idea, or you're at least curious about the gift economy and the financial gift economy, or financial gift model. And I just thank you for your interest, and for what this is going to shift for you.
Yay. All right. Thank you, Halina, for joining me today on Cosmic Convos. I love you so much.
I love you so much. Namaste.
Namaste, everyone.